We have breaking news from the NHL. The San Jose Sharks are parting ways with head coach David Quinn. We'll discuss this move coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty significant NHL news to talk about. A little bit surprising if you ask me, but the San Jose Sharks have confirmed in the last little bit here that they've fired head coach David Quinn. Of course, he's only been on the job for 2 years. Of course, GM Mike Grier hasn't been on the job a whole lot longer than Quinn. Of course, once Grier became general manager, which seemed to be a long process for the Sharks, they were really late letting go of the most recent staff that was on before Quinn was hired as well. So obviously, it's 2 years, not great results, but at the end of the day, did David Quinn build that roster? Were they really expected to be any better than what they were? I really don't know that they were supposed to be. Based on the moves that were made, this team was expected to be, a bottom feeder, if not the worst, and that's what they were. They were 32nd overall in the NHL. David Quinn was, like I said, 2 years on the job, record of 41, 98, and 25. I mean, not a great run, but like I said, you're on a rebuilding team that got worse in the second year of the rebuild than you did in the first year. I mean, look at the moves they made. They traded Erik Karlsson. They traded Thomas Hertl. They just continued to shed any talent. 2 years back, they moved Burns. The list goes on of the names that they've moved out. I just don't know how anybody, I don't care, you could have been the most amazing coach in NHL history. I don't think you could have done a whole lot better with that roster. They also confirmed that they've released head athletic trainer Ray Tufts from his position as well. This is surprising. Obviously, Mike Grier and David Quinn, both alumni of Boston University, not there at the same time, I'll mind you, because of the difference in age. Of course, Grier would have played there in the 90s. Quinn had a good run as head coach there. He was an assistant coach first, left for a few years, had a chance to be a head coach in the American Hockey League, then went back and was the head coach of BU and had a good run. Like, that's the only real place he's had good success, was at Boston University. If you take a look at Quinn's opportunities in the pro game between NHL and AHL, he had a run with the New York Rangers prior to the Sharks gig. He was on the job for 3 years. They never made the playoffs. Now, there was the year where it was the interrupted pandemic season when they came back to that qualifying round. They did get to participate in that qualifying round, but they lost. So they did not get to move on to the official playoffs. So technically in 3 years, no playoffs for the Rangers. But again, they were in a different stage of, building as well. And then he had a 3-year run in the American Hockey League as a head coach with Lake Erie. They missed the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. And the 1 year they did make it, they lost in the first round. So overall, he's coached pro hockey at NHL and AHL levels 8 years. In 7 out of 8 years, there's been no playoffs. You have to think that there's concerns over his ability to develop the young players. Otherwise, he'd still be on the job, because I'm sure Grier and ownership would be the first to acknowledge that the roster is not his fault. And he still had another year left on his contract as well. So given the fact that Grier has, retained a lot of money on some of these big contracts that he's moved out, and now he got approval to relieve the head coach with a year left. Like, he's really convincing the owner to kind of eat a lot of money for people to not play and work there. You have to wonder, what that means for his future, of course. Obviously it's going to be a long process to get this team back to competitiveness, but it's just kind of crazy. I didn't think in a million years. Like, we just did the Sharks offseason plan video just a few days back, and as I mentioned, I said in that video that, David Quinn's future hasn't been confirmed, and based on comments from the organization, I suspected that they hadn't fully decided, but I'd be surprised if they didn't retain him, considering that it wasn't his fault and how bad the roster was. But here we are. So David Quinn is no more. So I suspect they're going to be looking for another coach that's going to be obviously strong with player development, strong with working with young players, because that's what they're going to be doing for the next several years. I wonder about the University of Denver coach, Carl. I wonder if he's, maybe an option. He's won at the University of Denver level, multiple national championships, World Junior Gold. He also is already confirmed, I believe, to be the World Junior coach next year. So I don't know that he's going to be able to be pried out of the University of Denver. So I'm not sure if he'd be a candidate, but based on all indications are like he would be a good choice. I just don't know that he's going to be available. And at this point, who else? There's all kinds of other experienced coaches on the market. There's also some up-and-coming coaches coming through junior in the American Hockey League, whatnot. So we'll see where they go. I assume Mike Greer was speaking to the media sometime in the near future to analyze this move and give us some more thoughts behind it. But for right now, David Quinn is out as head coach, and we'll have to wait to see what kind of plans they make for hiring the next head coach in San Jose Sharks history. So let me know your thoughts on this move down in the comments, and we'll talk about it further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.